Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, local groups are working around the clock to help people stay warm, where those needing heat can find it. And the death toll rises from a powerful winter storm that cut a devastating path across the U.S. Plus, a critical Victoria County position remains unfilled as elections approach.
Well, it's going to be another cold morning. We're already down to 27 degrees, as you see right about there. We'll be getting down to about 22. And of course, with that wind chill, it'll feel like about 10. So it's going to be tough going in the morning. We'll have more details on this and on how long these freezing nights will last. All that coming up in a moment.
Former Cuero quarterback Jackson Marie announces his football commitment earlier today. Find out where he's heading later on.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is off tonight. As of now, 3 counties in the Crossroads are under freeze warnings from the National Weather Service. Let's go to Mac Pettis with the first look at the forecast. And Mac is looking at that temperature thermometer dipping down minute by minute.
Yeah, that north wind was really sharp today. Right about now, let's see, about 2 a.m., 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, you'll see about 20 here in Victoria. So, you know, that's cold. You probably felt it this morning with that real sharp north wind blowing in. Temperatures will be below freezing for quite a few hours. The good news is no precipitation. That's good. The bad news is if you see, you know, somebody that spilled some water or something that melted, that will refreeze the night, and you want to watch your speed as you go over that. But could be worse, folks. It's 12 in Wichita Falls and 16 in Dallas right now. This should be the last 20-degree morning. It'll slowly start warming up, but we need to get out of freezing for a couple of mornings. And we'll be taking a closer look at that coming up a little bit later on. Back to you, Don.
Mac, thank you. The warming center in Victoria will stay open longer for those needing a place to get out of the cold. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley joins us with more on the changes.
The Midcoast Family Resources Hub is continuing this work and making sure residents have the care and warmth they need. Throughout this past weekend, Midcoast Family Services has been transporting residents to Our Lady of Sorrows where they can sleep on cots and stay out of the cold. CEO of Midcoast Family Services, Brett Jones, says his main focus is keeping people warm and making sure they don't develop hypothermia.
This is part of our mission. We are here to empower people to overcome homelessness and to give them care while they remain homeless. These are our friends on the street. We meet them every day here at the hub, and we have relationships with them. So it's important to us because we know them and they're our community members.
The Midcoast Family Services Resource Hub is open from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and anybody's welcome to stop by.
I'll tell you what, it is heartwarming to see people come together and help those who are less fortunate, people who are cold, people who are hungry.
Midcoast Family Services and Our Lady of Sorrows say they remain committed to keeping residents warm and fed during this cold weather. Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Some groups of homeless are still facing the elements outdoors in Victoria, taking it on themselves to find any sort of shelter from the cold. A group has formed at the Splash and Dash near the corner of Navarro and Red River, using the car wash walls to shield from the winter air. The group says they got permission from the owner to stay through the cold weather, saying any sort of shelter helps.
He's seen us here. He came clean. He said, look, y'all stay there as long as y'all need, just as long as y'all keep it clean, and everything will be fine. Just don't extend your stay.
In the car like that, it's like a wind tunnel. It gets windy, but it's better than being out in the open.
The group says they've received some support, especially from groups like the Humility Project. After the Arctic blast blew through over the weekend, Dallas starts the week with lows ranging from the single digits to the lower teens. In 1940, the record low recorded at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport was 12 degrees, but a record-breaking forecast of 9 degrees could break that. Most of the Dallas-Fort Worth area received up to 2 inches of sleet. Higher totals of 3 to 5 inches were recorded north of the city. The death toll rising tonight after the massive winter storm swept across the country. ABC's Whit Johnson has the latest as hundreds of thousands are still without power.
Tonight, the death toll rising from that powerful winter storm that cut a 2,000-mile devastating path of snow and ice across the U.S. Snowfall rates of up to 2 inches per hour in parts of New York City, totaling more than 11 inches, the most in nearly 5 years. We were out on the streets of New York today.
Take a look at the conditions right now. The plows have done a pretty good job clearing the roads, but you can see the side streets especially are still very slick with slush and ice. Officials are urging folks to stay home, stay off the roads so that crews can do their work.
Snow blowing right through the open doors of this deserted commuter train on Long Island. Families opening doors to huge drifts in Marlboro, New York.
Ooh-wee.
The suburbs digging out for more than a foot.
I was expecting a lot, but I didn't think it was going to live up to it, and it did more than that.
Outside Boston, plow crews battling a whopping 22 inches of snow in Sterling, Massachusetts, the most in the state.
Our guys love when we're the jackpot. They kind of take a lot of pride in what we do. We're prepared for it. You know, we would rather be plowing 20 inches, I think, than 2 inches at a time a bunch of times.
Giant snow melters getting rid of tons of snow in Philadelphia. More than 9 inches there, the city's biggest snowfall in 10 years. In Louisville, officers digging out this driver, pushing him down the road. Across the South, freezing rain and ice thick enough to take down huge trees.
Oh no, oh no, oh no!
Heather McAprang watching as this one came crashing down. And in Nashville on icy Interstate 65, a big rig crashing into an overhead sign, causing it to collapse and shutting down part of the highway. Hundreds of thousands losing power across the storm zone. These power lines arcing south of Nashville in Franklin. Our Victor Okendo is there.
This entire neighborhood is under snow and ice. Almost everyone here is without power. You can see this large tree. It came crashing down. It snapped and brought some power lines down with it. But now these crews are on scene working to restore power.
And in Oxford, Mississippi, conditions so treacherous, utility crews were pulled back overnight over fears of falling trees. Authorities issuing a shelter-in-place order. Mississippi's governor confirming at least 2 weather-related deaths in that state.
And with the wind chill, it will feel like below zero across much of the Northeast tomorrow morning, and that same dangerous freeze in the South, where hundreds of thousands of people will be waking up without power. Whit Johnson, ABC News, New York.
If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. The Israeli military announced the recovery of the last deceased hostage left in Gaza. Ran Gavili, a police officer, died in the October 7th attack in 2023. His body was then taken to Gaza. There are now no Israeli hostages or their remains inside Gaza for the first time in more than 11 years. President Trump announced plans to raise tariffs on certain goods from South Korea. Trump said he's increasing tariffs on South Korea's auto, lumber, and pharmacy industries from 15 to 25%. The president cited the Korean legislature's failure to enact a trade agreement with the United States. It's unclear if the change has already gone into effect. The Commerce Department reports South Korea is one of the top sources of foreign goods for the U.S. Today, President Trump was speaking with Minnesota Democrat Governor Tim Walz about the unrest in Minneapolis following the second deadly shooting involving federal agents in Minneapolis. ABC's Melissa Don has the story, and some Border Patrol agents are expected to leave Minneapolis.
Tonight, after months of public feuding, President Trump and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz speaking over the phone, the Democratic governor calling the conversation productive, saying the president would look into reducing the number of federal agents in the state. Sources tell ABC News some of those agents and Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino are expected to leave Minneapolis as early as tomorrow. Border Czar Tom Homan is now being sent in by President Trump as a memorial grows for Alex Preddy, who was an ICU nurse for the Department of Veterans Affairs. The Department of Homeland Security is now reviewing body camera video showing multiple angles of the shooting that the public has not seen.
They have just shot a man.
as several videos from witnesses have been published online showing the graphic moments. Several Republicans now pushing back on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says it's time for the White House to recalibrate its immigration enforcement tactics. ABC's Mary Bruce questioning the White House response.
Secretary Noem said Alex Preddy committed an act of domestic terrorism. Stephen Miller labeled Preddy a domestic terrorist. Does the president agree with them?
Look, as I've said, I have not heard the president characterize Mr. Preddy in that way. However, I have heard the president say he wants to let the facts in the investigation lead itself.
President Trump also saying he spoke with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, calling it a very good conversation, and that Homan will meet with the mayor tomorrow. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
No replacement is locked in for the Victoria County Elections Administrator. Current Administrator Margetta Hill is set to retire next month. County commissioners were expected to name her replacement at this morning's meeting, but the person backed out of the offer. Hill tells us the Elections Committee will meet again early next week to find another candidate they feel will be a good fit. In the meantime, Hill says she's ready to stay on until at least March, if needed, to keep things running smoothly leading up to the March primary election. A rough stretch of road in rural Victoria County is finally getting some relief. For years, drivers on J2 Ranch Road have bounced around potholes and cracked pavement, damage left behind during construction of a nearby solar project. Heavy equipment used by New Hickory Solar traveled that 4-mile stretch regularly while the project was underway starting in early 2023. Now the road is getting repaired. Precinct 4 Commissioner Kenneth Sexton tells us the solar company is covering the entire cost, meaning taxpayers are not footing the bill.
Prior to me taking office, there was a road use agreement allowing them to use J2 Ranch Road to access it because they couldn't access from Jackson County because the bridge was too weak. And we held them to the ropes on it, and they agreed to us, and they cooperated, and we very much appreciate them working with us and getting this project done.
The final mile of J2 Ranch Road going into Jackson County will be paved when temperatures warm up. Since construction on the solar facility is complete, the company will no longer use the road for construction vehicles. The new Hickory Solar facility will be open and online later this year. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, a major affordability plan from the White House faces banking opposition. The proposal coming up. Also ahead, from deadly crashes to flight cancellations, the winter storm's impact on air travel. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, will enforce a new policy for travelers without a real ID. Beginning February 1st, that's Sunday, passengers will have to pay a $45 fee in order to use an alternative identity verification system. TSA Confirm ID will be an option for those without a real ID. Passengers can use the alternative ID for a 10-day travel period. Other authorized forms of ID include a passport or DHS Trusted Traveler Card. President Trump is pushing for a 10% cap on credit card rates. It's his latest attempt to calm worries over rising costs. Maribel Gonzalez breaks down who could be impacted most by the president's latest proposal.
I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year.
In an effort to boost affordability, the president is urging big cuts to credit card interest rates.
One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt.
Right now, American households are facing the most credit card debt on record, going back to 1999. According to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, outstanding credit card balances hit more than $1.2 trillion in the third quarter of 2025.
The big benefit for anybody who has credit card debt is you'll just simply spend a lot less.
Yet the banking industry says the president's proposal would make things worse.
It would be an economic disaster. It would remove credit from 80% of Americans.
Some financial experts agree.
Banks might really pull back access to credit, especially for consumers with lower credit scores. They do not want to take on the risk.
And with fewer people being approved,
when consumers lose access to credit, which is anticipated if this rate cut goes in, they often reduce their spending on essentials like healthcare, education, food, and are more likely to fall behind on bills.
The average interest rate on credit cards is just under 20%, though according to Bankrate, some rates are much higher. Why?
There is no physical asset, no house, no car that the bank can take from you if you fail to make payments on your loan. And so that presents a higher risk for lenders.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
The new assigned seating policy for Southwest Airlines goes into effect for flights tomorrow. Travelers can pick their seats in advance for an extra charge on flights. Purchase options include the ability to select seats with extra legroom. Other flyers will be assigned a seat at check-in. It's a big change for the airline, which used to let passengers choose any open seat once they boarded. In Maine, authorities are investigating a deadly plane crash, killing all 6 people on board. ABC's Gio Beneditez has more as major airlines are reporting record cancellations in the wake of the winter storm.
Federal investigators are combing this frigid and icy runway tonight after this private jet, now covered in snow, crashed while taking off in the middle of that major snowstorm.
All traffic is stopped on the field. All traffic is stopped on the field.
Around 7:45 p.m. Sunday, a Bombardier Challenger 600 carrying 6 people on board was speeding down the runway in low visibility at Bangor International Airport. The NTSB says preliminary information shows that the plane crashed upon departure and caught fire after the crash. All 6 people died on board.
Aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down.
It comes on the heels of one of the worst days for cancellations in U.S. history. Layers of ice, sleet, and snow blanketing runways from the south to the northeast, creating travel chaos over the weekend. And this is the story at so many airports right now. Plows working overtime to clear those runways since the storm began. Even so, you still have so much snow and ice. More than 20,000 flights canceled since Friday. Major hubs in Dallas, New York, and Boston slowly getting back online. And it's going to take days to get everything back to normal. Meanwhile, in Bangor, Maine, that airport is shut down until at least Wednesday. Gio Benitez, ABC News at JFK Airport.
If a tree falls on the Louisiana highway, does it make a sound? Louisiana State Patrol dash cam video captured the moment an ice-covered tree crashed onto a roadway in Natchitoches Parish. Officials say freezing temperatures can weigh down trees and power lines, causing them to snap without warning. Downed trees and lines can block roads, damage vehicles, and put drivers at serious risk. Authorities urge motorists to slow down and stay alert during winter weather.
The other problem with branches coming down like that, they knock down the power lines, and that creates a whole nother problem as well. So ice is a big deal, and obviously we were very lucky and we did get some ice patches, but by and large right now we're completely dry, but we're 26 degrees. Temperatures are really going to be dropping tonight, probably down to about 22. Managed to get up to 39 today with the 23 this morning. Tomorrow morning, you got to take the dog out or you want to go to work, you're really going to have to bundle up, and I would kind of avoid it until about 9 o'clock when the sun is up, and that'll help warm us up. We'll have more details on that coming up after this. Well, we do have an alert flag up for tomorrow morning because of the bitter cold. Now, that's tonight through tomorrow morning for all the Crossroads counties. We're going sub-freezing, but it's not just, cold. I mean, it's brutally cold with 22 as a minimum temperature and a little bit of a wind. We'll get a wind chill down to 10. So obviously for pets, for pipes, for plants, for people, it's a big concern. So, hopefully we'll slowly dig out of this bone-chilling cold. We have advisories for freeze warnings for all of Victoria, Goliad, and over up toward Jackson County, down to the south. Well, that's just a cold advisories, and then they know that by now. All of far west Texas, at least the precipitation has ended. All the snow and the ice is pulling away, and yet I checked on the drivetexas.org map from the Department of Transportation. As far south as Austin and out into the hill country, they still have ice and snow on the roadways. There's the big concern because, you know, whatever melted during the day will refreeze at night. And that's obviously a concern for travelers. Now we're going down to tomorrow morning. There you go, 6 a.m., about 20 here in Victoria, 22 and 19 in Austin, and pretty much everybody. Look at that. At Dallas, it's 16. Wichita Falls at 12. Brutal cold all over the state of Texas. A little bit of sunshine tomorrow will help in the afternoon hours, and slowly but surely we'll dig out of this super freezing cold. But you know, the interesting thing for me, you know, looking at the big picture, because you know this is how we figure out where the storms are going to go. You see this kind of rotation here? That's that monster low that has been there for almost 3-4 weeks. That's why the east is getting all that stormy weather, and we're getting those fronts coming down. Notice how this one is coming out of the Canadian prairies, and so that's going to be very dry, cold weather rolling down. High pressure is going to give us a couple of nice sunny days, but they're still a little on the cold side. Unfortunately, the frontal systems out of the Pacific are just not moving in our direction because of the way the upper winds are set up. So there you go, 21 tomorrow, and then Wednesday morning down to 29, and then 33. We'll make it to only 36 on Friday, but then another frontal system comes through, so it's not completely over with just yet. Like I said, all the stormy weather probably next 7 days is going to stay pretty much in the East Coast. So I know they're digging out. They're going to continue digging out. They're probably going to get another snowstorm coming through there as well. We're going to stay on the dry side. Here we are on Wednesday, still on the dry side. On Thursday, we have this little frontal system that comes through. It looks like it'll pick up a little cloud cover, but I doubt that we'll get any actual rain out of it, although maybe a drizzle or two, because that pushes away too. Just remember, the low is here, so everything is rolling out of the Canadian prairies and down into our area, and even the West Coast has gotten a little on the quiet side. Remember, it was getting hammered by these big Pacific storms? Things change. You know, here's what we're looking for tomorrow. A pretty, you know, a nice but crisp day in Port Lavaca, getting down to about 27 and then 50 in the afternoon. That 50 is going to feel like balmy weather. You know, you feel, we've been through the winter, you know. Getting down to about 20, maybe even 19 in Cuero, and then your high temperature at 49 degrees. So yes, it's cold, bitter cold in the morning. It'll be cold, slightly milder on Wednesday. Little front with a cloud or two, but Friday, but through the next 7 days, looks like we're going to stay on the dry side, even though we'll stay in very January weather right on through. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone, and here's Maxwell with your sports.
That is right, Max. St. Joseph girls basketball is gearing up for postseason runs starting tomorrow night versus Providence Catholic. We'll hear from seniors Bella Micas and Camden Morales next. Sport. The St. Joseph girls basketball is already in district play right now. They're 4-3 in third place overall in their district, and they're 12-7 overall. And tomorrow they will host Providence Catholic in a crucial district clash. And the Flyers have it led under their seniors Bella Micas, Jordy Ibarra, and Camden Morales. So their last two games though are going to be a challenge though. They're next week versus St. Mary's Hall and St. Joseph Academy. But for this week though, if they win these two games, they're going into the playoffs. So earlier today I caught up with two of the seniors in Bella Micas and Camden Morales about how they feel this team has done so far this season, how they're going to feel against the big game against Providence Catholic tomorrow night.
Like really good chemistry as a team, so we have definitely grown in that and know our strengths, our weaknesses, and yeah, we're really good at like leaning on each other in those areas. One thing that's cool about our team is like all of us are scorers.
Together as a team, because when we played there, we just kind of played a little sloppy. So coming out tomorrow, we should just be well rested and ready to play, and good defense and shots hopefully will fall after we get this good practice in.
Again, if St. Joseph wins tomorrow's game and then Friday's game against St. Augustine, they will officially be in the playoffs starting in 2 weeks. Now over to some top signings that are going to happen there next week when Goliad Volleyball's Kara and Youngblood and Maven Wunsch. For Youngblood, she will be signing to Blinn College, while Maven Wunsch will be putting that pen to paper to go to Amarillo College. And these signings will happen next Wednesday, February 4th. It'll be at 3 p.m. at the Goliad Event Center. Now, a person that announced their commitment today was Cuero quarterback in Jackson Marie. You probably remember yesterday, Ray Robinson kind of highlighted our star wide receiver Walker Dietz committing to Texas A&M Kingsville. Well, Marie has announced his commitment to Hardin-Simmons University. He announced that about 5 hours ago time. And this past year, Marie broke a lot of records in his senior year, had 55 total touchdowns. 46 of those 55 were all passing touchdowns, and he threw for 2,939 yards in the air. So great year there for Marie in the stat-wise, but also his hard determination on the field and off the field is going to be missed there from the Cuero community. And Cuero made a deep run, made it all the way to the regional finals before they would lose to Sinton in a tough battle in the regional finals. So congrats, though, to Marie, though, going to Hardin-Simmons University. Now, last week, Victoria West football held their annual football banquet and revealed some of their top honors from this past season, with the MVP trophy going to Tristan Bernard, offensive MVP going to Nolan Boyce, and then out there, defensive MVP to outside linebacker Jacob Freeman, special teams MVP to Ethan Van Dusen. So if you want to see the full list of honors, just go to crosstoday.com/sports. And staying in high school football ranks, we're out there in the 2A area where Dave Campbell's Texas High School football revealed their nominees for quarterback of the year in 2A, 3A, 4A, and 5A ranks. Well, in 2A, Refuro's Ray Lewis was named one of the 15 nominees for this award. And Lewis this past year rushed for 1,451 yards on the ground, and he threw for 1,266 and had 11 passing touchdowns, 23 rushing touchdowns for the Bobcats this season. So if you want to vote for Lewis, head to Dave Campbell's website and find texasfootball.com/quarterback of the week, and this voting will go all the way until February 6th. And I'll do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, one stranger's observation at a retail store changes an elderly woman's life. 92-year-old woman is getting help paying her bills after a stranger saw her working at a Burlington store. April Steele noticed Muriel Connick working in the dressing room and decided to act. Steele posted on Facebook and started a GoFundMe campaign and has raised more than $55,000 to help Connick, who works because her Social Security does not cover her rent, car payment, and bills. Connick says she was surprised by the generosity. Let it snow, let it snow. Well, wait a minute. New Yorkers and visitors headed outdoors today to enjoy the fresh snowfall, making Central Park into a winter playground. The snowfall also drew tourists to sites including Bethesda Terrace and Fountain at the nearby Strawberry Fields Memorial to John Lennon. Visitors paused to take in the snowy scene as snow plows moved through city streets and snow piles lined walkways. Many said they were determined to make the most of a winter day outdoors.
Absolutely.
It's very tough to get around New York City, as many people
on a
who have
good
ever,
day.
on a good day.
Yes.
But on a snow day,
It
as
is.
they would say in New York, forget about it.
Yeah, but Central Park in the snow is
it's beautiful.
That's
yeah,
nice.
I mean,
I was there
it's-
in New York in the wintertime.
Yeah, I've done that a
Right
couple
there.
times, and I mean it's so photogenic. You got to
Yeah.
take pictures of everything,
Oh, yeah.
and even the lady that holds her arms up and the pigeons stand on her. No, that's just a movie. Anyway,
See, people know what
folks,
that movie is.
for those of you that are going out early in the morning with the doggies, make sure you bundle up the doggies too, because it's going to be 21 as a low temperature, and of course the wind chill will make it feel like about 10 or 15. So yeah, it's going to be biting cold, but with the sunshine by noontime, it'll feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, I don't expect any rain for the next 7 days, anything significant, and therefore. So, like I said earlier, Don, I'm going to go out and wash my car, and that should hold for a few days at least, because it's been through a real beating over the last couple of days.
Stay away from those puddles.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.